ਇਕ ਓੰਕਾਰ ਸਤਨਾਮ ਕਰਤਾ ਪੁਰਖ ਨਿਰਭਉ ਨਿਰਵੈਰ ਅਕਾਲ ਮੂਰਤ ਅਜੂਨੀ ਸੈਭੰ ਗੁਰ ਪ੍ਰਸਾਦ ਜਪ ਆਦਿ ਸਚ ਜੁਗਾਦ ਸਚ ਹੈ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਨਾਨਕ ਹੋਸੀ ਭੀ ਸਚ ਚਕਰ ਚਿਹਨ ਅਰ ਵਰਨ ਜਾਤ ਅਰ ਪਾਦ ਨਿਹੰਜਹਿ ਰੂਪ ਰੰਗ ਅਰ ਰੇਖ ਪੇਖ ਕੋ ਕਹਿ ਨ ਸਕਤ ਕਹਿ ਅਚਲ ਮੂਰਤਿ ਅਨਪਉ ਪ੍ਰਕਾਸ਼ ਅਮ ਤੂਜ ਕਹਿਜੈ ਕੋਟ ਇੰਦਰ ਇੰਦਰਾਣ ਸਾਹਿ ਸਾਹਾਨ ਗਿਨਜੈ ਤ੍ਰਿਭਵਨ ਮਹੀਪ ਸੁਰ ਨਰ ਅਸੁਰ ਨੇਤ ਨੇਤ ਬਣ ਤ੍ਰਣ ਕਹਤ ਤਵੈ ਸਰਬ ਨਾਮ ਕਥੇ ਕਵਣ ਕਰਮ ਨਾਮ ਵਰਨਤ ਸੁਮਤ ਸਾਈ ਨਾਮ ਅਮੋਲ ਕੀਮ ਨ ਜਾਣ ਦੋ ਜਿਨਾ ਭਾਗ ਮਥਾਏ ਸਈ ਮਾਣ ਦੋ ਪਰਮ ਸਤਿਕਾਰਯੋਗ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਵਾਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਖਾਸ ਰੂਪ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀਓ ਫਤਿਹ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਕਰਨੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। So on the second day of this Kamai camp, we heard the Katha this morning from Bhai Inderjit Singh Ji, Mans Janam Dulamb Hai, on the purpose of human life. And Bhai Sahib narrated from Gurbani the Katha that in this life, the material with the alankar of 84 darwaje, they samjhad that there is only one aim, and that is Gurbani, that is Naam. And that Naam is mentioned on every ang of Tan Tan Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. That Naam has been told in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj to be the origin, to be the source, to be the foundation of this whole entire universe. If Akal Purkh Vaheguru, well, without doubt Akal Purkh Vaheguru is present on this earth, and if there's any roop, any form that we can get to Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that is Naam. Because we have to understand that Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the whole of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj narrates the virtue, the gun of how great, how big, how unfathomable, how unattainable Akal Purkh Vaheguru is. But yet there's this one tarika that they give, that is Naam. And it's very important to understand what Naam is. It's the whole purpose of this Kamai camp. What are we doing Kamai of Naam? So in Sahib Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj Ji Di Bani, it says in Mandavani at the Samapti, where Guru Maharaj Ji does a seal, they give the final advice to the Gur Sikhs that this is the path. They say Amrit Naam Thakur ka payo. So thal vich tin vastu payo sat santokh vicharo. Amrit Naam Thakur ka payo jiska sab sidharo. That the whole world, so Visthar de vich, mote roop de vich, is got santokh, contentment, sat which is truth, and vichar which is the understanding. But above all of that, and the essence of all of that, is Amrit Naam, Sabka Dar, the one that is the foundation of all. So in a way to understand that, like in Kada Prashadi Deg, there's 3 things that we put equally, that's atta, sugar and khand. But the thing that binds all of them together, that is the pani. And that is what Amrit Naam is, Vyapak. It's in all of the other things are not attainable if we don't have Naam. So it's very, very important to understand what Naam is. And the arth of Naam are actually in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, they are partakh, because in Mool Mantar, at the beginning of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, that Amrit Naam is explained as Ikwankar, the one that is Advait, that has no sani, that has no matching. And it is Sat Naam, That Naam that was true in the past, that is true in the present, and that will be true in the future. There's no other thing like it. So the Arth of Naam, the word Naam itself, what does it mean? The first Arth of Naam is Prasiddhi. Prasiddhi means to be known by something. Just like we have a name, and that's what the world knows us by. Akal Purkh Vaheguru, the only way we know him is through his name. That is his Prasiddhi. That is the most basic Arth of Naam. What can we do to get Akal Purkh Vaheguru? We can call him. That's all we can do. The second Arth of Naam is Angikar Karna. If we jap Naam, then Guru Maharaj will take us into the Sharan. Jo Sharne aave tis kant lave bird Swami Sanda. The third Arth of Naam is Simran. By that I mean memory. So when we recite Amrit Naam, in our memory, we are constantly instilling the yad, the dhyan of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. The fourth Arth of Amrit Naam is the Creator Lord, and that we are all subject to his command. The fifth Arth is Naam, so the one without more, Naam. And in that same way, the sixth Arth of Naam is the one without disease, because Sarbarog ka aukhad Naam. So Aam vi na hai of disease, of rog, and Naam means without disease. And the seventh Arth, which is famous, which is known by the scholars, is that Shabad that makes you remember a certain aspect. So these are the Sat Arth of Naam, and this is the Mahatam of Naam. And the second point, so this is what is Naam. Naam ke tare khand brahmand. So Naam is that has been created, that was uchared by Akal Purkh Vaheguru, through which the whole universe was made. And why should we jap Naam? Because we, through the process of time, have become separate from Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And as through that process, we've attained lots of things, lots of vices, lots of avguns, lots of things that we can improve on. And that Naam is the pure form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And as we do abhyas of it, we holi become the form of Naam. So in this burning world that is burning with desire, anger, the vices, so lust, attachment, Gurbani says, Chandan Chandana Sardarut Mool na mitei kaam Seetal thiva nanaka japandado har naam. That the world has recognized the moon to be calm, to be thanda, but actually those people that are missing someone, that have birha, when they look at the moon, it depresses them more. So that's, and Chandan. So sandalwood, when you rub some sandalwood on your head in the roop of a tilak, it's supposed to be very cool, it has a cooling effect. But that wood, sandalwood, it has fire within it. And in that way, Sardarut, so like now, we're going through very, very cold weather, cold temperature. It might be minus 10, 20, whatever, but that person that has a bakar, that has sarirak taap, that person will not get that coolness. There is only one thing that is subjectively cool in the world. What is that? Parmeshar's Naam. So why should we jap Naam? To get that Shanti. The second reason about why we should jap Naam is because Naam takes us, it reminds us of Parmeshar's Gun. And it's human nature, whatever you keep contemplating on, holi you become like that. And it becomes instilled in your memory. So when we remember, so Parmeshwar, God, in the name of Vaheguru, we remember that He is Va Achraj, amazing. And how is He amazing? He is without support Himself, yet He sustains us all. He is the enlightener, He is the living being between all of us. Without Him, we are dead bodies, but He Himself, He's powered by Himself, there's nothing to power Him. And Guru, the one that takes us from ignorance to light. So when we focus on the Gun, so whatever Naam, so if we're doing Satnam Jap or Mool Mantar, whatever is being described, we holi become that Roop. And to become one with Akal Purkh Vaheguru, which is the goal of human life, which was discussed in this morning's Katha, you have to become like Akal Purkh Vaheguru himself. There are three things that are separating us from Maharaj, that have been separating us for countless janams. Those are Vashna, which is desire. Second thing is Karam, the actions that we have sowed in previous lives. And the third is Agyana Vidya, ignorance. We don't realize who we are, how we are part of Parmeshwar ourselves. So in that first thing, in Vashna, what it is because we are so engrossed in desire, we're so engulfed, we become obsessive. So if there's food if we like food, we go on a binge of food eating. In that way, anything, if it's sexual desire, once we get into it, our appetite is not satiated in any way. It just increases and increases and increases. And as a result, what happens? It becomes instilled in our mind. So in Gurbani it says that Antkal jo Narayan simre aisi chinta jive mare. So is tarike de naal Pitambar ja ke hriday vase, that if we become obsessively focused on Naam, so if we are committed, our mind does not wander away from Naam, the other Vashnas don't get to us, then we attain Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And that's the avastha of our shaheeds as well, because they say that whatever desire that you focus on, so Bhagat Namdev Ji in that Shabad says that it becomes pargat, it becomes clear in that last moment of death. And the June that we go into, so we hear about the 84 lakh June like we did in the Katha this morning, Manas Janam Dulamb hai. We get those Junes according to our own desire. So one, it's a punishment, but it's a punishment that we've given ourselves because we were focused on something. So Gurbani gives the example, if we are focused, for example, on our children, we become a pig because they have lots of children, lots of offspring. In that way, if we make our Vashna, if we make our desire, so Akal Purkh Vaheguru, it eliminates all other desires, and at that moment that we die, we will be focused on Maharaj and we will merge into Maharaj. So like the other Vashnas, they're taking you into other Junes. If you are focused on Naam, it will take you to Nami, the source of Naam, Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And in terms of our shaheeds, so Pai Mani Singh Sahib Ji is being shaheed, but it's recorded that during the time of their shaheedi, they said, Tan gandgi ki kothdi har hiryan ki khan, je tan dityan har mile tau bhi sasta jaan. They recognize this body to be so worthless, and the Akal Purkh Vaheguru to be so priceless, that if this body is even cut into bits for it, it is still of less value. Because when in time of happiness, of peace, when everything's good, it's easy to jap Naam, even though we may forget Naam in that time. So in Rera Sahib, we've just heard Dukh Daru Sukh Rog Paya, because we forget Amrit Naam during Sukh, but it is easy to jap Naam in that time. When things get difficult, that's when the test comes, and that's when our Vashnas are gutted. So when people are tortured in the world, when they have pain, or even if they're suffering from any illness, they shriek, they say, Hai Hai Papi Karm Kamav, they karde Hai Hai. But the Gurmukh Atma, so like Pai Mani Singh Sahib Ji, even in that last minute, they were so focused on their Gurbani that Sukhmani Sahib came out of their every pore. So that's the vichar on Vashna. And just a final point on that is we always envision ourselves of a Khalsa Raj and the sacrifices that we may have to make for that Khalsa Raj. But it's important to remember that to get that Raj, there's going to be a lot of Qurbaniya, and it's easy to say that we will make the Qurbaniya, but when things get difficult, if we were focused on material things, that will become Pargat, they will delude us. But if from a happy time when it was all peaceful, we were focused on that Amrit Naam, no matter what happens, we will remain in Guru Maharaj's sanctuary. So the second thing is Karam. Karam is those actions that we've sowed in previous lives and this life. Now there's many different types of Karam, I'm not going to go into that. But Vahiguru's Naam destroys Karam. So there's a very long Shabad in Gurbani in which Bhagat Naam Dev Ji, who was Bhagat Trilochan Ji, who served Akal Purkh Vahiguru for a very long time. And Akal Purkh Vahiguru is so benevolent that when someone serves him, he has a desire in himself to serve that person. So Akal Purkh Vahiguru took the form of a servant and stayed in Bhagat Trilochan Ji's house for a very, very long time. And the Sakhi is quite long, so just cutting to it briefly. What happened was that Bhagat Trilochan Ji's wife was not aware that Akal Purkh Vahiguru had come into her house. And she managed in some way to do Nindya of Akal Purkh Vahiguru in that servant who was called Antarjami. And he disappeared. And then she asked Bhagat Trilochan Ji, what was this kid? We had a servant yesterday. I said this about him and he disappeared. And Bhagat Trilochan Ji explained that it was Akal Purkh Vahiguru himself that had come to serve us. And so their wife does a lot of vilab. She gets very upset that what have I done? What have I done this Nindya for? It was worth nothing. And at that point, Bhagat Trilochan Ji says, Dukrit Sukrit Haro Karmri, that the positive actions that you do, so the positive fall that you're getting, that you had the servant, Akal Purkh Vahiguru, in the form of a servant in your house, that Sukrit and the Dukrit that now he's left, that's your karam. And then they go on to give examples of many, many people in history that have lost their way because of their karam. But at the end, they say, why do we jap Naam? Because Naam destroys karam. And that's the second reason. And another thing on karam is that a lot of philosophies in the world, they focus on karam. There's nothing above karam. What you sow is what you get. And Gurbani agrees with that to an extent, and we are responsible for our actions. But Guru Sahib is so powerful, they have so much strength, unlike any other in the world, that they are able to destroy karams. There was once, in the time of Maharaj Sheme Pasha, a Bibi that came and did Benti to Maharaj. So Mata Sulakhani Ji was her name, from a Pind Chabba, which is about 3 miles from Sri Amritsar Sahib. And she did a Benti to Maharaj, that Maharaj, I do not have a son, please bless me with a son. And Guru Maharaj said, it's not in your karam to have that son. And time went on, and as a few days passed, she was crying, she was upset. And Pai Gurdas, who was a Gursikh at the time of Sheme Pasha, he had been in Gurukar since the third Guru Sri Guru Amar Das Ji Maharaj. He was their relative as well. Pai Gurdas saw, and in his mind, Gursikhs always want to do Parupakar. Janam Marandu Hume Nahi Jan Parupakari Aaye. And we will come on to that when someone attains the virtue of Amrit Naam, what the purpose of Naam is, Jivan Mukti, even then, they are so eager to help everyone else. So Pai Gurdas Sahib Ji sees this Mata that's crying, and they say, Mata Ji, what's wrong? You're in Gurukar, no one's prayers are unheard here. And the Mata explains the whole situation. And then Pai Gurdas Sahib Ji gives her an idea that take a pen and paper to Satguru Sahib Ji and say that Maharaj, okay, if it's not in my karam, if it wasn't in my karam before, then please write it in my karam now. Now the kid was such that when Sheme Pasha on their horse was going past, they saw the Mata and they said, why are you holding a piece of paper? And she said, what Pai Gurdas had told her, that you did not write my karam before, but can you write it now? And Maharaj laughed, and they took the piece of paper and they were about to write the number 1. But Gur Itihas narrates that Maharaj Sahib's Koda, their horse, had a forna, that if Guru Maharaj is about to be so graceful, they're about to give so much kushya, they're about to fulfill this woman's icha, then I too should make a contribution and have my name in history. So he galloped when Guru Maharaj was about to write the number 1. And in Punjabi, the number 1 is very similar to the number 7. And that sort of jump caused the number 1 to become a number 7. And that Mata's karam was then changed, and she had 7 sons that she used for the seva of the Panth. That's how Samrat Guru Maharaj is to change Karam. The third thing is Agyan. Now, Agyan refers to the ignorance within us, that although Gurbani bar it tells us that Akal Purkh Vaheguru formed us out of himself, because of our attachment to the material, we've hardly forgot that completely. So maybe in some Janam we did remember that, but over the times, and we're probably coming from many yugs as well, and in that time of Satyug, maybe we understood and we did Kamai, and that's why Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji writes that those that did Kamai in Satyug were then given the Manas Sarir in the next yug and so forth. So even to get this human body, it's been many yugs, but through that whole process, because of Agyan, we've forgotten that we are Parmeshwar the Ansh, we are part of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So we've become accepting of the fact that we come in 84 lakh June, and that's why we don't do anything about it. But Parmeshwar's Naam is such that all three of these things, so Vashna and the second Karam, and now this third, ignorance, is all gone just by jumping Parmeshwar's Naam. And the big result of this is until these three things remain, we will keep coming back on the earth. And in Gurbani, coming back on the earth is the worst pain. Kabir Sahib did not ask anything of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, but they did ask one thing. What was that? Ik dukh Ram Rai Kato Mera Agan Deh Aur Garb Sera. In that same way, Bhagat Naam Dev Ji said, Pindi Ubkale Sansara Pram Pram Aaye Tumche Dwara. That I have come from many different juniya, different doors, different ra, where I did not know of you, Akal Purkh Vaheguru, but please, that Jam Karna, the cause of death, that Maya, please take me away from it. And that's what Naam will do. Now, another question arises that Gurbani sings the praise of Amrit Naam so much, then why do we have to do so much abhyas of it? Because in Dasambani it also says that even if for ek shin we do Dhyana of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, we will not come back into 84 lakh June. And in Gurbani it says, Sai Naam Amol Keem Na Jaan Do. And then the question arises that we're all doing Simran, we're all even at this camp, and we're doing all the Mool Mantar, Gur Mantar, but why do we have to do so much of it? The reason is that it's like a light switch. So when two wires will connect, only at that point the light will come on. In that same way, so we did Sukhmani Sahib di Gurbani today, and in that Gurbani, Maharaj said, Man sacha mukh sacha soe, avrana pekha ekas bin koe, nanik eh lachan Brahm Gyani hoye. So Brahm Gyani refers to that avastha, that position of becoming free from all bonds and attachments, of coming back into this world. And they describe it that it has two facets, two aspects. One is man sacha, mukh sacha soe. So that is the purity of the mind. And the second thing is avarna pekha ekas bin koe. That is the focus of the mind. And we do all of this abhyas, all of this kamai, just so that we get both things. When both things come into a balance and they interconnect with one another, then we will get Nanak e Lachan Brahm Gyani hoye. So all those virtues we saw on the screen of how Guru Maharaji narrated the praises of the Brahm Gyani, to the extent that they said Brahm Gyani a Parmeshwar, that Paramavastha, you become God yourself there. And when you reach there, so what happens then? Now, there's two types in that can happen, two results that we can attain. One is Jivan Mukti, and the other is Bide Mukti. In Jivan Mukti, what happens is that we attain all the powers of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, because we've become the form of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, but he keeps free things in his own hands. He does not give that, no matter, even if you become Brahm Gyani, he does not give them. What are they? Sarva Palak, Sarva Kalak, Sarva Pratpal. So destroying, sustaining and creating the world, he keeps that in his hand. But except for that, he gives everything to the person that becomes one with him, the Jivan Mukta. But in that Jivan Mukta Vastha, that person is still fully aware of the body, and they can choose whether they wish to help humanity or whether they just wish to live their life for the duration that it was meant to be and then merge with the Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And the Marg of Gursikhi, so in Bhai Gurdas Diyan Varan, which are said to be the key of Gurbani. So if we want to understand Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Bani, then Guru Maharaj says that we have to go through Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji's Varan. And in that Gursikhi di Nishani, Bhai Gurdas Sahib Ji says that the Gursikh is always eager for Parupakar. And that's why we have so many, so even our Shaheeds and then our Sant Mahapurkh Brahmgyanis that attained that Paramavastha but of Jivan Mukti, but they choose to stay on the world and help us. And the example that is given is like salt. When it dissolves in water, the essence is still there. So in a sense, we still attribute that person, that person is so and so, but they have become one with Maharaj. And examples of that are throughout so history. So we're in the Bhagad. So yesterday was the Avatar Purav of Bhagat Ravidas Ji, and they did a lot of Parupakar and they did Upadesh to many people, and 41 of their Shabads are in Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj. In that same way, today is the Barsi of Sant Gyani Sundar Singh Ji, and they too had achieved this position, this Jivan Mukt Avastha, but even then they choose to endure this human body that even the Bhagats have said, Ik dukh Ram Rai Kattu Mera, simply to help us. They did 23-hour Amar Sanchar, so where we struggle to sit here and do Guru Mantra Abhyas, Mool Mantra, and myself included, I find it very difficult to sit here for so long. Those Jivan Mukt, even though they have attained Akal Purkh Vaheguru, they still make that effort to help humanity, and they do so much. It's just like usually the analogy of the Sahibjade are given, that the Panj Pyare gave their head to become the sons of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, but those Panj Pyare, so those Char Sahibjade that were already the sons of Sahib Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj, they still gave their Shahidi. Why? It's because of that pure desire to help, and that desire to help, so that benevolence is in Akal Purkh Vaheguru, and then through doing Abhyas of Naam, you get that virtue of benevolence inside yourself. So in the other way is Bide Mukta. Now Bide Mukta refers to that avastha. So when Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj did Katha of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji at its completion at Sri Damdama Sahib to 48 Singhs, 46 of the Singhs became Bide Mukta. Bide Mukta and Jivan Mukta, the mindset, what they are going through is completely the same. But the Jivan Mukt has made that conscious decision to stay in the world, but that Bide Mukta, he becomes so infused with the Ananda that he's going through, that he does not wish to stay on this world, and they only survive on this world for a few days because they lose all sense of eating, drinking, everything. So Bhai Maha Singh Ji, so we're doing the 40 days Simran Jap. So Bhai Maha Singh Ji also was one of those Gursikhs that were Jivan Mukta. And they, even though they did Jang Jodh, but through their heart they had given this all up. They had renounced all of the actions of the mind, and it was Akal Purkh Vaheguru doing it through their body. So another example is Baba Sham Singh Ji, who did 70 years of Kirtan at Sri Harmandir Sahib, and a time came when some other Mahapurkhs that were quite educated, Gyanis, they came to see Baba Sham Singh because they had heard that he was a Jivan Mukt, and it's rare, virle ke only a few Gurmukhs attained that padvi, so they came for darshan of Baba Sham Singh Ji. And Baba Sham Singh was cleaning the sewers of Sri Harmandir Sahib, and one of them asked that if you are Jivan Mukt, then why don't you just take anand of that? Why don't you take pleasure of that? What are you doing? And Baba Sham Singh Ji said that it is not Maharaj's hukam to speak, but I'm a Kirtani and I will offer one Shabad to you. And the Shabad they read was Sab Nagri Mein Eko Raja, that this body, no matter this body has organs and the mind, everything, but now at this stage it is Akal Purkh Vaheguru running it. And then they realized that the avastha has become so much that it's not Baba Sham Singh, Akal Purkh Vaheguru is doing seva at Sri Harmandir Sahib. Now, we as Kalyugi Jeev, we don't see the benefit in Japing Naam because we see sukh in other things, we see happiness in other things. But all religions and all seekers, they seek one thing, that is Shanti, peace of mind. And increasingly in the world, there is less and less of that. Mental illness is increasing by the day. But Gurbani says that the arth of Sant is Shanti. Sant na chode Santei, kotak mile asant, malyagar pyangam bedeo sitaltanat jant. That like the sandalwood tree, which is very cool, which is very fragrant, but is wrapped around by snakes, it still does not lose its virtue of being cool. In that same way, the sants that have reached this Paramavastha, they have become so serene, so cool, that no matter what approaches them, this world tries to lure them in many ways, or many people attack them, they do not give up their peace, their Shanti. So that is another thing that we get from Japing Naam. Another thing is, through Japing Naam that we will attain is purity. Now, we all know that in our daily lives, there are countless mistakes that we make unknowingly. So these could be as big as the Bajjar Karata, or as small as being lazy to wake up at Amrit Vela or anything. And then a bigger galti is to hide these galtiyan. And when we hide them, holi we build guilt in ourselves. And even that guilt, it takes a form of obsession and it stops us from being peaceful. But Gurbani promises that once you begin to jap Naam, that guilt that lies within you, no matter what it's for, because we've all sinned, we've all done wrong on our time on this earth, that guilt will leave you because you will become pure. Everything else in this world, so there's a concept that we will come up later in the Katha, Sucham and Jut, because that will come in the how to get that Naam, the Avastha. But Gurbani says that this whole world, everything that we have, it has an ounce of impurity in it. It's not pure. The only way that this tongue can become pure is Naam Kahat Gobind ka Suchi Pei Rasana. So we want that. We want that guiltless Avastha and that purity. How are we going to get that? So this morning, we did Ardas Benti in Sachkhand, because Sachkhand Vasai Nirankar, when Guru Maharaj's Sarup is in Sukhasan, at that time, they are in the Nirgun Sarup, and we are doing Bandhana to that Nirgun Sarup when we do Benti in Guru Maharaj's Sachkhand before they come to this Pavan Darbar. And we did a Benti that Maharaj do Sahayata in this camp, give us the Phal, give us that Benti that you yourself did in Sri Rehra Sahib, Har ke Jan Satgur Satpurkha Bino Karo Gurpas Ham Kire Kiram Satgur Sarnai Kardaya Naam Pargas. So even Maharaj Sahib in Gurbani asks on our behalf for Amrit Naam, that give it to us. And Guru Maharaj in that Pavan Hukamnama, they gave Gur Pure Kirpa Tari Prapuri Loch Hamari. And further in that Hukamnama, Guru Maharaj said, Sant ka marg dharm ki paudi. And that is an example. And in Gurbani, there are some, even like in the first half of Japji Sahib, there are no examples. But in the second half of Japji Sahib, after the 19th Paudiya, there are lots of examples that we call Drishtant and Da Drishtant. And Gurmukhs have said that that first half of Japji Sahib is to the Uttamadhikari that is already attuned or has progressed in the spiritual path. But like myself, we need examples, and Guru Maharaj in the Hukamnama this morning gave the example of a ladder. And that ladder, what is it? So that ladder is explained in Sri Japji Sahib. And also in Vedanta Granths it's also mentioned, because we have to understand that there have been many spiritual experiences, spiritual seekers in the world, and they've all written their experiences. And the ones that are coherent with Gurbani, there's no harm in taking example from them. And we can even see that Sri Guru Maharaj, Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji, in their Gurbani, they specify what is Gurmat out of them and what is not. So in this Sant Ka Marg, so in that rasta to become shant, to attain peace, what is that Dharam ki paudi? The ladder of righteousness. And in that ladder, there are 7 steps. So like this morning, Inderjeet Singh Ji mentioned Sant Kartar Singh Ji's Katha. This is also from their Katha. They mentioned 7 steps. So what are they? Shubh Ichha, Shubh Vicharna, Tanu Mansa So Hoye, Satva Pat Asanskat Pardartha Pavani Soye. And in the second Pangati is mentioned Turiya Pad. So 7 stages. The first stage is Shubh Ichha. And in Japji Sahib, that Ichha, that first stage is written like this: Ik du jibo lak ho he lak ho ve lak vis. That we should have so much desire to jap Naam that we should think that this one rasna is not enough, that we should have 100,000 rasnas. And there was a Pagat, so of Akal Purkh Vaheguru in Satyug, that asked that of Akal Purkh Vaheguru. First he asked for 1,000 tongues, and then with 1,000 tongues when he did Simran of Akal Purkh Vaheguru, that was not enough for him. And then he asked for more and more, and eventually Akal Purkh Vaheguru said that your Simran has become so much that you're worthy of becoming inside of me. So even this first step is Shubh Ichha. So that is the Shubh Ichha that has brought us to this Kamai camp, to become one with Akal Purkh Vaheguru. And we're going to get that Ichha just because now we've heard all the virtue of Amrit Naam. That should make in us Shubh Ichha. Now the second stage is Shubh Vicharna. And that stage in Sri Japji Sahib is written Akhan Jor Chupa Neh Jor. That in that stage, the person becomes so much, they do so much self-analysis, self-criticism. And that's not something that we can just do. It's a stage that we get to. At the moment, sometimes we do look into ourselves, but most of the time we look externally. In that stage, our mind becomes focused on what is wrong with us. Why are we not becoming one with Akal Purkh Vaheguru? And it recognizes that main thing is Homme. And at that stage we get it, Akhan Jor Chupa Neh Jor, that we have no strength in what we say or in remaining quiet. So in doing actions or not doing actions, so everything that happens in our life, it's not us doing it, it's Akal Purkh Vaheguru that is doing it through us. We get that in the second stage. In the third stage, Tanu Mansa So Hoye. So that is when, Tanu Mansa is when we go into even more depth, more bariki. And in terms of Gurmat, that is when, so we discussed Vashna. When Vashna completely ends, all the desires that we have, they all end in it. And that avastha in Sri Japji Sahib is written as Dharmakhand. And it is the avastha of the Satsangi. And we should all, everyone that comes to Sangat will get that avastha. That is the promise of Gurbani. So in that way, the next avastha is Sattvapat. Now this is when we recognize ourselves to be not the body, but Akal Purkh Vaheguru's Ansh, Mantu Jot Swaroop Hai Apna Mool Pashan. We get that there. Because no matter how much we try to samjha ourselves that we're not the body, but even everything now it's attaching us to the body. Even the way Kali Yug's progressing us, because in the past all efforts were made that we lose this attachment of the body. Now all the effort is being made that we become attached to the body. Facebook, taking photos of ourselves, it's all that. We're attaching ourselves to the body. This is my photo. But it's not, it's just the photo of the body. You are something else. You are pure, you are Parmeshwar, the Ansh. And that's what we get. And that is Gyan Khand in Sri Japji Sahib. Now, the fifth avastha is that of Saram Khand, or Asanskat is the word that Sant Kartar Singh Ji uses. Asanskat is when you lose all doubts. So you get dridta in Parmeshwar's Naam. You get that confidence that without Naam there is nothing. Before this, even though you've even got to the process where you've recognized that you're not the body, but you're not necessarily making the effort towards it, here you've instilled yourself, you've become dread in it. Jeta sunna teta now. And in that, everything is just is Bani Sarupa. So we begin to get into the higher stages of Simran, where we begin hearing Akal Purkh Vaheguru's Naam in everything around us. Now, above that is then Padartha Pavani. And that is when we lose every element of materialism. So, there was a Gurmukh who was a saint, a very accomplished saint that is quite famous. And he was invited to go to a Samagam, a different Samagam of another Gurmukh. And he refused to go on the basis that that Gurmukh was, in his eyes, was involved in Maya, because there were Akhand Paths happening and there was clothes being donated to the parties, all that, there was Maya going on there. So this Gurmukh didn't want to go there. But then the question that was asked to him was that this body is Maya, the food that we eat is Maya, and the clothes that we wear is Maya, that you are still in Maya. But in this stage, we become separate from Maya completely. Padartha Pavani. So all the padarths of this world, we become away from them. At this present moment, we recognize some things to be material, but some things we think are necessity. So today we even talked about how it's necessary that if we're Gristi, then we're going to have to sustain our livelihood, everything. But Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj's Bani says that before this person was made, before this jeev was made, the food for it, the sustenance, the wealth for it was already created. And Sant Jarnail Singh Ji in their Katha, in one stage, so they're encouraging people to take Amrit, come on this Amrit, on this Gurmat path. And they say that you're worried about your rijik, that if you come on this path, what will you lose? Everything. They say that Akal Purkh Vaheguru sustains even the ants in stone, that Gurbani has already said that, but maybe it's not taking effect on you. But think of it this way, that in the world, the worst possible career that you can have is that of a prostitute. And Akal Purkh Vaheguru, onu vi rijik dinda, he is even sustaining them. If you are doing your Gurmat Anusar, you're giving your Daswand and your livelihood, then you needn't be worried about your career prospects, etc. if you focus on Akal Purkh Vaheguru's Naam. And that's the stage that is called Padartha Pavani. But that stage is where heaven and hell exist also for many religions, and it's the paunch of where many different religions can take you, where the avatars have taken you. So in the other religious texts, it's mentioned that there's a world where there are these forms, but Gurbani goes even one step further than that. Gurbani goes to Turiya Pad, which is also referred to the Chautha Pad. And in Sri Japji Sahib's Sachkhand Vasai Nirankar, where that final separation between us and Akal Purkh Vaheguru, which is the material body, we even lose that. So we become that much seamless in Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So Bhai Nandlal Sahib Ji asked Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj that Pir Buddhu Shah asked Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj that what is it to have Brahm Gyan, to become one with Akal Purkh Vaheguru? And Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj replied, like the night changes into the day, that way the body, the person, the entity becomes one with Akal Purkh Vaheguru. So then Pir Buddhu Shah asked that the night, when it becomes day, there's no sign of night because of the light. So Guru Gobind Singh Ji Maharaj replied, yeah, that's right. In that same way, there is no element of me, anything in that avastha. Now, that's a very Sankhep discussion of why we should jap Naam. And this was how should we jap Naam, and the different stages of Simran we'll cover in tomorrow's Katha, because even those are very inspirational. But today, these were the stages of Gurmat. And where do we get this? Where do we get all of these avasthas? In Guru Maharaj Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji's Charan. and there's not been an avatar like them, even in sargun form or nirgun form. So that is the form that has one that has a form and then one that is without. So when we are talking about the sargun swarup of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Maharaj, if you are doing Naam Abhyas and you're focusing on that, then even then you will get Shanti, because it said that when in the past people did Abhyas of certain deities, when they'd never seen these, they'd just heard of them, when they actually saw the deities, they became scared. What is this? They're worshipping someone with 4 arms, 10 heads, etc. That's something that they've heard of, but they've not seen it. When they see it, then they still have fear that what is this? They don't want to see it anymore. And that even happened to Arjun when he saw Krishna in that Virat Sarup. He got very scared. But Tan Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Sargun Sarup, the only avatar to have a full dada, is peaceful. When we have that Sargun Sarup darshan, it will instill peace in us. And when we have Nirgun darshan through Gurbani of Sri Guru Granth Sahib Ji Maharaj, we will understand, we will get Gyan, which is the true knowledge, and we will get detachment from this world. And at the same time, we will have Mukh Bhakti, which means through our bodily actions, we will still have Nimrata, humility. So in the Charan of Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji is where this Amrit Naam is available. So in the Hukamnama this morning, so Maharaj said, Gurpure Kirpa Tari. So the term that Maharaj uses is Kirpa. That when Akal Purkh Vaheguru's Kirpa happens, we get all of this. When Guru Sahib's Kirpa happens. Now Kirpa itself is in 5 types as well. One Kirpa is that we get from Vaheguru, and that Kirpa is what we're all getting now. That is Satsangat da Milap. The second type of Kirpa is that we get from Satsangat. So when we listen to Katha Kirtan in Satsangat, so the first from Vaheguru was that we actually get to go to Sangat. Then the Sangat does one Kirpa, that we get Satada Upadesh. What is Sat Naam? Sat Naam, that was true in the past, present and future. So we've discussed that. We get that virtue of Naam in Sat Sangat instilled into us. And then Guru Sahib does Kirpa, they give us their darshan. That is Guru Sahib's Kirpa, to give us darshan. And our own karam can do Kirpa on us. If we have good karam, then we have high intellect, we have buddhi, and we understand the concepts within Gurbani very, very easily. But again, Sri Guru Maharaj is capable, just like they did for that mute Chhajju in Atvein Sarup, in Sri Guru Har Krishna Ji Sarup, someone that was illiterate, they made them recite the arths of the Dungi Gita. So Guru Maharaj can even get rid of that. And finally, there's Apani Kirpa that we can do on ourselves. What's that? That is Kamai. So like we are here, we've made this effort to come to this Kamai camp, and we focusing on Amrit Naam. That is the Kirpa that we can do on ourselves. So saying that, I seek forgiveness for any mistakes that I've made. So please accept my Fateh. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.